The next thing that Holy Spirit recommends is rest over pain. I probably, of everything last night, this is what I found the hardest. I found it hard to rest. But I obviously did because I fell asleep several times, right? It's funny to have to say that I had to work hard to rest. But I did, and anybody who's had an ego attack probably knows what I mean. I had to work hard to rest. And what I did was I kept reminding myself that I wanted to rest. We could call it I willed for resting. Right? That would be using the language of these messages. I willed for resting. I reminded myself that I wanted to rest. And the ego was all wound up. And I would start listening to it and feeling the headache and the upset stomach. And then I would remind myself that I wanted to rest. And you know what else I did? I'm remembering now. This is really helpful, I think. I not only reminded myself that I wanted to rest, but I trusted that I would. I threw trust in there. I reminded myself that I wanted to rest, and I trusted that I would. That's what I did. And it worked, because I would fall asleep. So, it's not anything magic that I did, right? It's not anything magic. It's just practicing to the best of my ability. But trust was in there. I reminded myself I wanted to rest, and I trusted that I would. I trusted that the rest would come over me. And it did. So Holy Spirit is asking us, he says peace, okay? Peace is, and he's talking about peace to a troubled mind. Peace is choosing trust over doubt. Peace is accepting the situation rather than judging it. Peace is choosing to rest instead of choosing to be resistant. Then Holy Spirit continues, peace is necessary for healing. That's very, very similar to what Teddy quoted us from A Course in Miracles a while ago, that peace is the necessary condition for the knowledge of the kingdom to dawn on the mind. Peace is necessary for healing. Without peace, you are caught up in the code of the illusion and fearing the code is true. This is the opposite of peace. Fearing the code is pain. Now again, when he says peace is necessary for healing, he's talking to a troubled mind. So don't forget that he has just redefined peace for us. When he says peace is necessary for healing, he is not saying right now that you need to get into a totally peaceful state of mind where there is no more agitation. That's not how he has just defined peace for us. When he is telling the troubled mind that peace is necessary for healing, what he is saying is trust over doubting is necessary. Acceptance over judgment is necessary. Rest over pain is necessary. He's saying make these choices. Boris says he's saying just chill. Yeah, he's saying make these choices. And to me, it's not difficult to see that this is a true statement. I mean, imagine the opposite. Imagine that I'm choosing to doubt, I'm choosing to judge, and I'm choosing to resist. Can you see how I'm going to block healing? If I choose to doubt my practice, whatever practice came into my mind, if I choose to doubt it, I choose to believe that's not enough and I abandon it, abandon the practice, how could that be helpful? If I choose to judge myself, right, as a bad course student or a bad NTI student, or I should be beyond this, how is that helpful? And if I choose to really resist my current emotions, if I choose to hate them, if I choose to try and repress them or fight them, how can that be helpful? The only way that healing can occur is if I make the choices that Spirit is recommending. If I choose to trust, even if it's hard to choose, if I choose to trust. if I choose to accept the current situation as it is, accept my state of mind, and choose to rest to the best of my ability, then you could say I'm making space for healing. So this is what Spirit means when he says peace is necessary for healing. He's not saying that our state of mind may be incredibly peaceful at that moment. In fact, my state of mind last night was not. But I did practice this. And as I told you, I had a wonderful realization. To some degree, I had a healing. And in fact, by morning, I was no longer worried about the same story anymore. In fact, I was seeing it completely differently. So peace is necessary for healing, the way we've defined peace. Without peace, right, without making these choices, you are caught up in the code of illusion and fearing the code is true. This is the opposite of peace. Fearing the code is pain. And based on what we learned about the code, if you're believing the story is true, you're just going to continue to feed that energy back into the illusion and back into your own mind. So you can see how that won't set you free, because it's going to keep looping around and looping around. So believing the code is not going to be helpful. Fearing that the code is true is not going to be helpful. Holy Spirit continues, peace is the path to the peace of God. Peaceful acceptance and trust is the way to awaken to that which you are. Peaceful acceptance is awakening. Denial and resistance are the choice for pain. So what Spirit is saying, again, last night I had this difficult evening. I'm really okay with that, and I was okay with it last night, although it wasn't any fun. Being okay with it doesn't mean I was having fun, but I was okay with it. I like I said, I knew I was having a difficult time, and I knew I needed to work hard to practice, and I did that. But there was also just this knowing that that ego was acting up because I am still awakening. So I didn't judge it as a bad situation. So I was okay with it. I was in acceptance of it. Now, if I had resisted it by, again, judging myself, saying this shouldn't be, somehow trying to stuff it away, that would have been a choice for pain. It's kind of natural for the human mind, which is the ego mind, to try and deny and resist uncomfortable experiences. We literally want to lie to ourselves about these experiences. But that's just never helpful. It is much more helpful to be willing, even though it's no fun, to let the experience be, and to just do our practice to the best of our ability for as long as the experience lasts. RAT, as Laurent has written, rest, accept, and trust. That's the way to healing. You know, one way that a lot of people call me is because they are in a fearful state of mind, or a state of mind of hate. I would say fear and hate are the two most common. Probably because those are the most uncomfortable. Depression also. Fear, hate, and depression. And that's probably because there's such uncomfortable feelings, right? Fear, hate, and depression. When people call me with their fear, hate, and depression, oh, guilt, that's another one. Yes, Lisa. What they want me to do is give them what I would call a magic bullet or a magic pill. They want me to tell them how to get rid of this. They want to get rid of this feeling, and I understand that. But that desire to get rid of it, is actually resistance. So we don't want to deny our desire to get rid of it. Like I said last night, there was a wish in my mind that it would stop. I acknowledged the wish in my mind that it would stop. And then I chose to move into my practice. I didn't deny that wish in my mind. I acknowledged that I didn't like it, that I wanted this experience to be different. But then I just moved into my practice, which included accepting it as it was, trusting it would pass on its own. Allowing these experiences while continuing our spiritual practice is an important part of the healing process. So don't deny that you don't need to deny that you have the thought that you'd like it to go away. Acknowledge that thought, but then just choose again. Choose healing. Let's see, I see a couple comments here I'm going to read. Regina, you have walked me through this recently. Oh, and I'm so grateful for these tools to move through. There is no other way. It works. Not easy, but it works. And Teddy has written, the desire to get rid of it is the will that must be turned to the desire or willingness for peace. Yeah. And no one can turn your desire away from one and toward the other but you.